Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going fabulous. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to create a card with the brand new collection over at the Spellbinders shop. This collection is called Open House and you're going to love it because it's super fun. Today I'm playing with two of the items. You have the Open House base and then there's also an Open House Topiary. There's more to this entire collection and these two are actually meant to coincide with each other, to work together. We're going to make two different cards using each of these die sets though. So this is super fun. I know the large die of the month club kit had something similar, but I think these make fabulous cards, any occasion cards. So we're jumping in. I'm taking some cardstock. This is the Color Essentials cardstock. It is called Silver Fox. It's becoming one of my new favorites. I used to love the Tin Pail cardstock, but this is a heavier weight and it's a warmer gray. I die cut out door base with it and I love it. There's embossed detail on the door, which is fabulous. It helps you align extra elements on your door too. Now I'm taking some green cardstock. This happens to be Rainforest, and I'm going to die cut out the leaves in our Open House base set, and then we're going to die cut out our mailbox and doorknob with some gold mirror cardstock, and then we're going to grab some more pieces of colored cardstock. This is just plain white. We're going to go ahead and take this piece. It goes to the door top. We'll die cut that out. And then the windows have an outline die and then it has the frame die that you can insert. The nice thing about this is if you want to actually create a window in your door, you could with these. And I think that's fabulous. And you can have it with the window panes or without. Or you can just add the window panes to the door and just have the door have window panes cut out. So it's pretty neat and versatile. I'm taking the back side of our welcome mat and die cutting that out with white cardstock too. For my welcome mat, we're going to use a Portobello cardstock. There is a piece that you layer on your welcome mat on the very bottom to give it a little dimension. I'm going to die cut that out too. Now there's an insert. If you don't want the sentiment that says hello, you don't have to add it, but I'm going to add it, and then that's why we're creating a white background so our hello will stand out. Now once I have everything die cut out, I have the inserts for those window panes. I'm going to bring in some silver mirror cardstock. I wanted to create like a mirrory window effect, and I think silver is going to work out great. We're going to die cut those out in just a minute. I'm going to take a Copic marker. This is E74, and I went ahead and added this piece to the bottom of my welcome mat, but it kind of got lost, and so I thought we would do a little bit of highlighting with it using a slightly darker color, and I think this works out fabulous. So if you happen to get this die set, make sure that this piece that goes in your welcome mat is just slightly darker. I just added a little shading to the left and to the right, and I think that made a difference, but I think I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more to the top and bottom of that strip. I just think that makes a huge difference. So one shade slightly darker. Copics work great with that. Okay, there's my welcome mat. Super fun. I'm going to go ahead and add some glue behind it, and we're going to attach this to our white back piece. Just add thin layers of glues. If you want to add a little dimension and pop it up, you could, but I'm just going to glue them together. I can add foam adhesive behind it instead of going in between the layers. So there it is. That will be my sentiment for the card. Okay, there is an archway in this die set. I'm not going to use it today, but I'm going to just use the top piece since we're making an A2 size card. This is the silver mirror cardstock I was talking about. I think we're going to die cut out the window panes, and then this way we can layer them on our white ones here, just so it gives it a mirrory, windowy look. We're going to go ahead and glue these down. When you adhere your cardstock to the mirror cardstock, it does take a little bit of time to grab and hold. So we'll do this first, and then I can weigh it down with an acrylic block, just so it gives it a little bit of time to attach. And we'll add some thin lines of glue. Okay, our window panes are done. Now I did take that rectangle piece and die cut out 3 of those with white cardstock. I'm actually not going to use those as intended. It's what it's supposed to be used for. I'm going to use them for something else. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. But these actually are meant to go on the door as a paneling kind of a look. So you have the window panes and you have the paneling. You can die cut out 2 to fit on the on your door. I did die cut out 3, but I did it so we could create some little envelopes. And I thought that would be the perfect width to make some envelopes. So, or just use your paper trimmer and trim down a thin strip of white cardstock. I think that would work too. But this is the top piece. I'm just making sure it's centered and gluing it directly on the top. There is an embossed detail kind of differentiating the layers there. Love that. And then we're going to go ahead and add a little glue, and then we're going to adhere our mailbox. Now I die cut this out and I wasn't sure if it actually opens or not, because it would have been a very thin line, but you know, believe it or not, your mailbox does open. I took my tweezers and lightly opened it up. You want to be careful because your your gold mirror cardstock will dent, but it does open up, so you can slide an envelope in there. So that's what we're going to do. This is how I made my envelope. I just trimmed off a little piece, and again, if you wanted to just use a strip of white cardstock, you could. I'm going to take another piece that's the same width, trim that off, just line it up here. They don't have to be real perfect. And I'm just going to create a V with this one. We're just going to emulate a flap. If you want to do all this, you could draw it with a gray marker. I think that would work the same, but I like little details like this. Just makes the card even more special, and I don't mind doing it. We just glue it down on our white piece of cardstock and we have instant envelope. Now that's the back side of the envelope. I'm going to show you how to do the front side. Would be easy too. I trimmed down a piece of white cardstock. This looks like it might be an A2 size, a mini A2 size. I'm just using my black Jelly Roll pen and addressing it with squiggly lines, and then adding a faux postage mark off in that top right corner, and that creates a cute little card too, a little envelope that you could, if you don't want to fussy cut your flap, you could do that too. Easy peasy. There's an option. I'm going to take one of my envelopes and we're going to go ahead and carefully slide it in our mailbox. And once we have it slid through partially, I'm going to go ahead and add a little glue on the reverse side of the top part of my mailbox. This way it's secured to my envelope. We'll hold it down a bit, and then the excess that's overhanging you just trim off. Easy peasy. Okay, I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to add a little more glue to it. I already added glue to my door, but it probably dried by now, but I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more, and then we're going to tack our mailbox down. We're going to have some letters. I always do this with my mailboxes. I just love the look of this. Next, I took some glacier cardstock. This measures 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches, and I embossed it with the beach towel embossing folder from Spellbinders and Fun Stampers Journey. I was looking for an embossing folder that had horizontal lines on it, and this worked out perfectly. I was going for a look that looked kind of like siding on a house, so I just adhered that to an A2 size card front. I did pop up my door and my welcome mat and place that to the right of my card base, and then I'm taking some timber cardstock and I'm making a faux tree trunk. I went ahead and just free-handed it out, making the roots a little bit wider and then it trailing off to a point. We're going to flip this over. I'm going to add some foam adhesive behind it and add that to the very edge of my glacier cardstock. Now with all of these extra leaves that we die cut out, I thought I'd make a fun tree to go next to our door, kind of create an outside scene. So I'm just filling in that area with all of these leaves. There is some smaller leaves that have 3 on them. I thought we'd had a few to the left of our welcome mat and then maybe one to the right of our milk. Spreading out that green basically is what we're doing. We're going to pop up the rest of our envelopes, and those are long ones. They look kind of like bills, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and add those. And then we're set this aside. We're going to add bells and whistles when we finish our second project. But I think that looks really fun. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Open House Topiary die set, and we're going to die cut out some elements from this. Now again, this is meant, it's the perfect size to go to the left and to the right of your door. I actually have topiaries on the left and right of my door. I was partial to this door in the topiary. I really like it. Now the topiary top part, you have a top and a bottom. Top part of die cutting out with white cardstock. And then we have our flower pot. We're going to die cut that out with our pink sand cardstock. That little square piece on the pink sand is actually the flower centers. We'll die cut that out as well. Our flowers are going to be created with the dahlia cardstock. And then also I'm going to have a different shade of pink for the top of my flower pot with the dahlia also. Now I was going to go ahead and adhere my white topiary part to my background. But I thought we would color it in first with Copic markers. The back piece I die cut out with fern cardstock, and I thought it'd be nice to have lots of different colors of the topiary here. So basically I'm using two different shades of Copic markers, and I'm not going over my white flowers on here. I want to keep those white. And then there's also some circles that it could be flower beds or a place where you add your smaller flowers. I'm leaving those white too. I wasn't sure if I wanted them to be white flower beds or not. I ended up die cutting out one more piece with the flower pot top. I'm taking my dahlia cardstock here. This is going to go on our pink sand. And then there's a piece that you can put on top so it looks like your topiary is filled. You could fill it with green, but I chose the Portobello cardstock, the brown. It kind of goes with the trunk of my topiary, and so kind of emulate like a little bit dirt. So we're going to add some dirt. That's why I die cut that out. Next we'll take our trunk, add a little glue behind our pot and adhere that. And then before we add our topiary, we're going to go ahead and add dots of glue and our flowers. I went ahead and add the flower centers to our dahlia flowers. And if you don't want to add the centers, they're pretty tiny. If you don't want to add them, you can always add dots of Nouveau drops or add gems to them. But I didn't mind. I don't do it very often, so I thought I'd do it today. So our topiary is complete. I went ahead and added the leafy part to the tree trunk. You can see I'm using my Flora slimline embossing folder and also my Plaid Company embossing folder with the glacier cardstock. We're going to do a little bit of embossing for this. But for my topiary, I did add gold bow to that also. We're going to adhere a panel that I die cut out with our Plaid Company embossing folder. That's going to go in the center of our card base. And then with our Flora embossing folder, this is actually a 2 3/4 inch strip. I'm going to trim it down and fishtail the very bottom to create a banner for this card. And I didn't cut it too well. I kind of got it crooked. I'm going to flip it over and do a retrim. So your slimline embossing folders are not just good for slimline cards. I went ahead and added some twine around the bottom of my banner, and then I have my topiary there. I was kind of figuring out my layout. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it with my sentiment, but I think that's the basic look of it. For my sentiment, I'm actually using a stamp set from Spellbinders. This is the Essential Sentiments stamp set. Love this because it has all kinds of different sentiments in it. I chose just the note. We're going to stamp this on our Silver Fox cardstock with black ink here. It's just VersaFine Onyx black ink. And then I did trim it down. And then I did fishtail the left side of it. Next we're going to pop up our banner. Instead of going to the left where I originally had it, we're going to put it to the right. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my sentiment. I did add foam adhesive behind it too. We're going to put it just above our twine. And I used the natural twine. I wrapped it around my banner 3 times. Now you can see the gap that I have behind my just a note. I did that intentional because I want to overlap my topiary in that area. I'm just adding another piece of foam tape so it's nice and even. We'll remove the release paper off of our topiary and then we can add that to our card. And we're going to put that trunk right in the center here, filling in that open area, and I think that worked out fabulous. Okay, for bells and whistles, I'm bringing in the silver mix, the Color Essential Gems. We're going to add a few around our panel, and then I did dot the center of those white flowers with the smallest of these gems. And after we have this done, I thought, let's add a little sparkle to our door too. There's no sparkle on there, so we're going to add just the smallest of gems to the tree just to make it a little bit sparkly. And I was looking at it and thinking it would look kind of bare, guys, so we're going to take one more set of the topiary flowers and we're going to die cut those out. Now I thought we would add a little bit of journey glaze over our window panes too. This takes a long time to dry, so when I take pictures it's probably going to be cloudy, but it's going to dry crystal clear just like a window. So forgive the pictures. This is the flower set that's in the Open House base set. You can use those. I think they're pretty similar, but I already had some of these extra die cut out and put together, so I thought I'd put them to good use and add a little pink. Just adding an extra color element, and I think that made a lot of difference. The gems really made it sparkle, but the flowers just made it extra special. We're going to add our last one here with our little dot of glue. There's some little leaves that go with the flowers in the base set also. But that's my project today, guys. Both of my projects using the Spellbinders Open House, a few items from the Open House Collection set. I hope you get a chance to check it out. It's a fabulous new collection. You know, Spellbinders always makes incredible dies. I'll list everything below if you guys want to check it out. But thank you so much for joining me. Have a fantastic, fabulous day. I hope you're staying cool. We will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.